Back camera, look at this already. Front camera is really nice on this phone, but this looks like a filter. That's so cool. All right, let's paint. I'm gonna reach for a base that has a little bit more of a pink undertone. This is Game Over. This is one of the Ulta liquid shadows. Been loving these. Ooh, that's nice. Just kind of use the side of the brush to melt it in. That looks good. And then, now that I have a little bit less on my brush, I'm gonna start to bring it all the way up to the brow. Nice. I feel like these are really, really smoothing. Now I think I want to start with this shade. I am going to switch to an E29 for more detail, but right now I'm just kind of adding, oh yep, perfect. I'm adding a little bit more pink to it. Mauve, if you will. Or as I should say. Okay, let's push that into that base. And I'm kind of building on the color we already have on and shifting that color to the more mauve shade. And then bonus points if you can get this first kind of shade shifting shadow, say that 3 times. If you can get it on the liquid shadow before it completely dries, that way it really enhances it. Anytime you can apply something on top of something a little wet, it's going to enhance, grab, and last longer. Now I want to do a little detail highlighting. We're going to go into this white. I feel like white shadow can be very intimidating, but think of it as a highlight that is actually easier to control than a shimmer. Now I know you're thinking, what in the heck are you doing? Well, I am using a smaller brush. That way I can control it. But a lot of times when you want to highlight something, it helps to kind of get really intense with it at first. I picked up more. And then we'll blend it out in just a second, but this is actually going to be kind of cool. We just have to trust the process. Okay, there we go. Don't be leaving now. I know this is real spookable, but it's going to be really cool. I'm going to blend it, but think of this as a bake right now. Now let's go in here. Although on Feral Mondays, we just have fun. Still using that E27. And I'm gonna start to stamp this darker shade. And you're gonna hear the sound of silverware in the background because my mama is emptying the dishwasher. She lives with us. She's 73 and she likes to do her little kitchen routine. She seems to always do it right when I start filming. But who can get mad at her? She's down there with her cats emptying her 5 cups that I leave her with. And maybe like 3 forks. I will say a lot of times colors that have any kind of purple in them tend to be a little more difficult to work with, but this is really nice. Look at how nicely pigmented that's staying. I do want you to notice that I haven't really swiped back and forth, and that's really important when you're starting to build. So do keep that in mind. I actually think I want to grab E26. Let me find one. I grabbed that same shade, the dark one, and I'm just going to bring that over here. I feel like sometimes we forget we can use really tiny brushes, especially with hooded eyes, small eyes. It makes a difference, and it's not that much more time consuming. Okay, that looks really nice. And while I have this, I'm wiping it on Sheila off camera. And then I'm gonna grab this shade, same E26, and I'm gonna start to transition right here. Just some really small circular motions. I'll switch to a bigger brush over here, but I wanted a little bit more detail towards the front. Now I'm taking that more red mauve burgundy on the E27, and I'm gonna start to transition that. I'm probably gonna clean this up with some micellar water and then put something else there, one of the shimmers. Oh, look at that, how nicely that's transitioning. Just do a couple stamps to make sure that's focused. Couple stamps here. I'm so glad we switched to back camera. This is so cool. Let's clean up our lid space here. It's really satisfying to watch this melt. And I feel like the micellar water darkens the shadow, so it even makes the crease area more sharp. I'm just gonna wipe this off. I have enough on my lid. I don't need to pick up any more micellar water. I'm just gonna let this run. I feel like sometimes you can have an aha moment. I'm trying to decide how much I want to. See how that's exposed? See that right there? And I'm showing you that because if you ever want to create a larger lid space, this is my natural lid space. Now, this is me just looking straight ahead. Do you see how that's exposed? Once I add shadow there, it's going to make my lid look much larger than what it is. So it's just a fun way. A lot of us already know that, but we have to remember we have new friends every single day, starting their journey. And even though Feral Monday can be a little more intimidating, there's still things to be learned. So I was swatching some of the shimmers. I wanted to see how opaque they were. They don't look very opaque. I'm okay with that. That's even better. Look at how liquidy and delicious these look. I know I need this one in here somewhere. That's that one. So I think, okay, I have an idea. I'm excited. I'm just gonna do a clear base because this one is just so wet and it makes shimmers on another level. Of course, it's being discontinued. It's just the way things are. I am gonna take a C30, smooth this out some more. There we go. Wipe off any excess. Just make sure this is nice and smooth. I'm gonna worry less about the precision over here because I have an idea to cascade, but I do want to keep the precision here. But no matter what, I do want to make sure that this kind of base is really thin across the skin. I'm ready. I'm actually going to start with this shade. I would like to start lighter towards the front, and notice that I'm really loading up the brush, and I'm still going to use my C30 because I get really nice precision. And it really acts like a finger, and my fingernail's not fitting there. That ain't happening. Okay, I'm gonna pick up some more. Now I'm going into that shade, the darker one. Oh, that's so pretty. Big fan. I'm going to go ahead and bring this color pretty far over. And then I'll stop it about right there. Now this is my idea. I want to take this darker shimmer, always getting a lot on my brush. Take note of that, even if you're not going to use colors in this realm. If you want to use your favorite champagne shade, load up that brush. You notice that this one is a lot darker, and I'm not going to worry as much about this line. But I want the shimmer to be more intense, so that's why I'm using this brush. But I'm actually gonna put a little bit extra of the same shade here, and then I'm gonna switch brushes, and we're gonna do something. Oh, that's a pretty lid. Then we're switching to a fluffy brush. Nothing on it. Hold it really far back. That way you can do this really soft circular motions. Let that kind of cascade up here. Cascade out this way. You're gonna start to get that shimmer. I wanna keep this really nice and tight. But the shimmer, I want it to melt. You're even gonna see me blend downwards because I know I'm gonna be able to clean all of that up. But this kind of really activates that sparkle. I am using the lightest touch because I don't wanna overblend my matte that I already have on. Now, I don't want a harsh line. So I'm going to take my micellar water on a fluffy brush and just melt these edges, but I am going to angle them upwards. Nice. Angle the shape upwards, I should say. Oh, we're in a meeting in there, y'all. And then I'll melt it even more, but this is a good start. And I'm not gonna do a wing liner because I am gonna melt this more, but I did wanna add a little bit more depth at the lash line. So I'm just gonna add some of that dark shade. Perfect. So while my lashes are warming up, I'm gonna grab this Stila liner in Firefly. I might use it some more in a second, but let's start here. And then, is this the one I want? I'm gonna grab an E27. Shayla, where are you? I'm going to soften this. I don't know if you know this, but you can use these as eyeshadow too. Ooh, look at that. That's so pretty. I'm gonna keep this close by because I'm not done with it. Look at these floofers. I was in the market for some floofers today. These have been warming up on my hand. And I do trim these. I should have probably even trimmed them a little bit more, but I think we're gonna be okay. But that's just something to keep in mind, because a lot of the times if we don't like a lash, it's because it needs trimmed, and trimmed more than we actually think it does. And then once it's on and warmed up even more, we're gonna start to clamp it. Lash applicators, no matter what style of lash you're after, please get yourself a lash applicator. Even if you have short nails, these are just so much easier to work with. Okay, and then I'm just gonna keep clamping because my body heat is just gonna continue to make this even better. So what I'm doing there is making sure I don't have any kind of disconnect, lifting it up, and then clamp again. I'm gonna use this pencil. This one is for the Waterline. I love these. Remember when I did an ad for these a long time ago? I'm still using it. I don't really do black on my Waterline a lot, so I thought it'd be fun. And also it's kind of nice to have one designed for your Waterline. Okay, nice. So whenever I do really wild eyeshadow, color correct. Wild eyeshadow makes everything look absolutely terrifying, okay? It brings out the worst. But then once you're finished, it can just be absolutely magical. But I feel that this is one of the reasons we don't do it. So I'm using one of my all-time favorite correctors in the history of correctors. This is 𝗕𝗘𝗧𝗬. I'm using Cool Sunrise. See me use this a bunch. I'm still gonna put on foundation, but look at what a difference that has already made. And I'm using a denser brush to make sure I get a lot of pigment out of this corrector. Okay, and then soften the edges. And I'm even going to do some green corrector. Even though I don't have a lot of redness right now, this still is going to make a difference. Anytime you can correct any kind of redness, discoloration, mostly with these intense eye looks. I don't want you to feel like you have to do this every single day unless you want to. I mean, it is rather easy. I just want you to make your own makeup rules. I'm just here to kind of give you some examples. This is one of my favorite high-end foundations. You know what? I should probably, no, we're good. I'll just back up a little bit more. I was gonna turn it around, but it's a lot easier. I can see what I'm doing. This is gonna look very spooky. Oh, I know, it looks too yellow. Just gotta let it dry down. I am smoothing it out first. Where's my C42? Watch this blend out. Ben. I love him, but he is so loud on his meetings. Don't forget your ears. So pretty. Now I also want to remind you, maybe I want to ask you the question, what is the reason that this even looks so yellow? It's contrasting with the purple. So another reason we tend to go, no, I don't want to do the fun looks. Well, I know that we're all on a different makeup journey, but the reason we find them so intimidating is because they do stuff like this, and now you're like, I hate my makeup today. We're gonna use bronzer shades to kind of bring this to where we need it to be. But this is actually a really beautiful shade on me if I'm not wearing a lot of purple eyeshadow. This is one of my favorite things to do. And I want to do it up close. Okay, I'm picking up almost nothing on a fluffy eyeshadow brush. And I'm going to start to melt these edges. You don't want to go too much. I crack myself up. I want to laugh when I say things like that because I know most of us hate this eye look. Y'all, people are really not nice on the internet, but that's okay because this is just my fun art. But I want to laugh because I'm like, yes, so we're gonna go around here, but it's like, who wants to do this? Well, this is something I love to do and it just brings me so much joy. Taking the smallest amount of foundation and melting edges, I just think it gives the most beautiful finish to an eyeshadow look. And then it just looks melted in. I'll even take a little bit across here. By now, there's almost none on my brush. But I will give you this tip. The reason I use a foundation instead of a concealer is because it won't cover up quite as much. Concealers tend to be more full coverage, so that's something to keep in mind, just in case. And I bet you're wondering, Rose, what are you gonna do with all that foundation? I'm gonna do something. I'll show you what I'm about to do. Get it everywhere, I'm a mess. I wanna use a brighter concealer. I love this Estee Lauder one. I'm not gonna need much of it because I'm actually going to blend it out with the foundation. I know it's getting too wild. It's getting too wild. I'll use this brush. This one is from the travel set. So I am gonna pick up a little bit of a little bit of foundation, not too much. I'm not even really loading up the brush. Look how it's not wet, just a small amount. And I'm gonna start to melt this in. Connect it there. Might have to stop this slide and keep blending. I'm gonna stop and then I'll be back to blend the rest. So what this does is it keeps the brightness, but it makes it to where there's some balance there, because a lot of times if our concealer is too light, it's going to look gray, it's going to just enhance fine lines, and we're using such a small amount of it that it just really makes sure that that concealer is so melted and so blended. And I'm actually going to grab some more of that foundation because I still feel like it's a little too bright. Look at this. It's a really good, fun way to even save a concealer that's too light. Because I actually find that the 3.5C is a little too warm, and I love the shade of 2.5C, but it's a little too light for me. That is scrumptious. So I want to wear this Armani blush. I think it's going to blend out really, really nicely. And I want to wear it because it also is kind of going to tie into that. And I also wanted to say, I don't really have a preference on doing blush before bronzer. It's really just up to you. I will say that if you do your blush before concealer, you might hide a little bit of it, but that can sometimes be the point. There's no right or wrong. Just have fun. I do it different all the time. Oh yeah, this color's delightful. I also love this formula. If you want a dewy formula that actually lasts, this is it. These dry down and they set, but they still remain very, very dewy. There's a dewy and a matte. This is the dewy. I have not stopped using this Anywhere Caffeine. I love it. I have so many bronzer sticks. Now this is a multi-stick. That means it could be bronzer. It could really be anything, but I use it for bronzer and I just love it so much. Let's watch it blend out. Let's grab a C40. Got one here. Remember, I don't have any powder on my face. And I'm also stamping, that way I don't lose a lot of the pigment. It's hair washing day. Y'all know what that means. Ooh, that's so nice. Blend it down my neck. Now, this might have all dried down with all of that blending. I'm out of my Cosmetics, and remember this one. I like this one, but I don't know if I liked it more than this one. It's a lot of information to take in. And then the One Size Powder Melt has a like a film that sets at the end, so I don't use that to do what I'm doing right now. What I'm doing right now is just making sure that we're not super dried down, especially under my eyes. I'm gonna give it just a second, literally 30 seconds. And then I'm gonna go back in because that Estee Lauder concealer can dry down completely, and I don't want that right now because I'm about to set it. And this is a good time to go back over if you have any kind of fine lines that tend to want to crease, go back over smile lines, anything like that. For me, it's mostly my under eyes. Remember, this is my second one. I'm trying to keep track of it. And also notice how I'm going around the edges to make sure I'm picking up all of the shades together. Remember in the loose one, how there were the 4 separate quadrants in there? I always felt that even in the original formula that I love so much, I always felt that one color would come out more, one color would come out less. So the idea that we're picking them all up evenly and I'm not just getting more of one, I love it. I mean, I just love this formula so much. And the reason we're using a puff is because we used more concealer, and as much concealer as we just used, that needs a puff. That just looks so good. It even blurs the blush. Oh, I love this powder. Let's just go ahead and watch this set too. How nice that looks. Now I am, and we talk about this a lot, but just in case, for this area, if I put that much powder on top of that, I run the risk of it turning gray. Under's good. Kind of carve that out a little bit. But for on top, I love the puff brush. And if we use less concealer, we would use this. But you want to veil so you don't change the color and turn this gray and dull. Now this is going to be editorial, a little bit more sassy. I don't know why I don't see more people talk about these. This is also Makeup Forever. Look at how cool these are. So this isn't going to be quite as white. Look at the comparison. This one is a little bit more of a shell color compared to an extra bright white, but these are really, really cool. And I'm just going to kind of continue this underneath here. But I am going to blend these edges because that's even a little not my vibe. But I just want to brighten it up in there. Still using this, let's add a little bit here too. And I'm using a denser brush. If you used a fluffier brush, it wouldn't be quite as intense. Look at that 3-point, isn't that fun? And I feel like we forget that we could highlight with a matte. Lord have mercy, I ain't never getting this tutorial done. Now Douglas wants back in. If you're wondering where Gene is, he's actually with his daddy today. Oh, he let himself in. Hello, Doug. I'm gonna take a little bit more of that tacky eyeshadow base. I'm still trying to find us one that's really similar to this. I haven't found one that's quite as tacky yet. So let's throw this on. Okay, nice and smooth. That's a C31, by the way. Then I'm gonna grab, what color should we do? Let's start with this one. E27, and I'm gonna try to kind of cup my eye and make sure that the bristles don't go back and forth so I don't have fallout. This is a tip no matter what kind of eye makeup you want to do. That tacky base is going to grab it, and then the way I'm holding it is going to ensure that we don't get fallout, and if we do, it's super minimal. And while everything is still tacky, I'm going to grab that shade and place it right in the center. Perfect. Y'all know I cannot be tamed on Mondays. I'm taking Firefly again, the Stila, and just extending a little bit out that way. Why not? While Doug snores. Still using these very often, the Revlon multi-liners. This is the shade Dynamic Doer. I didn't mean to go that heavy in my Cupid's bow. Not against it, just not something I normally do. And then, this one's really cool tone, by the way. I'm gonna grab the Stila lipstick. This is their new formula and applicator. This is shade Petal. And this one's matte and it's gonna completely dry down. So what I wanna do is get it on, get it really thin. Oh, that's so important. I wish somebody would have told me that in 2016. And then I'm gonna go back in and blend and even lock in. So anytime you wear, even though these are very long lasting, it's kind of like a little bit of extra insurance when you can mix your lip liner with your long wear lipstick. It locks it in and it ain't going nowhere. I'm the reason we can't have nice things. I forgot that I used dark eyeshadow with this. Y'all wanna fix it? I know you do. Well, we're gonna have to grab a clean brush. I could clean that one, but for the sake of time, micellar water, clean Z30. I know, it sounds scary because they're taking a little bit of that foundation off. It's not. Okay. Sabotage. Powder foundation, this is the MAC one in W13. Done. Crisis averted. For now. And where did my lip liner go? And I think this will be really pretty on top. This is from Revlon, by the way. It's Glazed Almonds, the shade. It's something glimmer. What is it? Super Lustrous Glimmer. Yee. Oh, it's nice and sparkly. I've worn this before. I really like these. Ha, it's so pretty. Do you want to know the secret to keeping a gloss really, really sparkly? I chose that super matte lip because I knew I was going to put a sparkly gloss on top. Anytime you wear a gloss, or I should say a sparkly gloss with a lipstick that is creamy, what's going to happen is that lipstick is going to eat the shimmer. So since it was matte, it's going to go on top and be its sparkliest version. And this is just for you. By the way, this is the new Baby C40. Ready? Makeup seatbelts. I love makeup. And then I would do this with any highlighter just to make sure I don't have too much on it. I'm just gonna wipe it on Sheila. Then I'm gonna take this part because this part's gonna be the fluffiest. And I'm just gonna soften the edges. Fun. All right, I'm done after this. I swear I'm putting a little bit of that right in the center of my lid. I must be stopped. Somebody take all this stuff away from me. This was fun. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. It's so incredible to be able to get whatever all of this is out of my creative heart. Tomorrow we will do something very wearable, very fast, very summer, if you will. I feel like that'll be good. All right, I love y'all so much. Thanks for hanging out with me and painting. All right, I love you. Bye for now.